Unit 12. Listening Part 2. Exercise 4.
Today I'm going to be looking at some of the ways in which climate change is affecting the life and culture of the Inuit people. I suppose it would be true to say that in today's world, most educated adults are aware of global warming and climate change. But how many of us living in modern cities with a seemingly inexhaustible supply of electricity into our homes and places of work, how many of us are actually affected by these phenomena in our daily lives? The Inuit, however, are being affected in a very real way on a daily basis by a frightening deterioration in their physical surroundings. They see melting ice sheets, changing tides, and notice the thinning of the polar bear population. They see how the daily weather markers on which they've relied for thousands of years are becoming less predictable as their fragile climate changes. In the past, if there was a ring around the moon, it meant a change of weather in the next few days. Now, such signs mean nothing. But these are just the most immediately visible indications of the changes taking place. Talk to the Inuit elders and hunters who depend on the land, and you'll hear disturbing accounts of deformed fish, diseased caribou, and baby seals left by their mothers to starve. In the last year or so, robins have appeared where robins have never been seen before. Interestingly, there's no word for robin in the Inuit language. These ideas are not simply based on what the Inuit themselves have observed. There's increasingly strong scientific evidence that the Arctic, this desert of snow, ice, and killing cold wind, is thawing. Glaciers are receding, coastlines are receding, and other large bodies of fresh water are no longer there. Autumn freezes are coming later, and the winters are not as cold. For years, what the Inuit elders and hunters understood about the Arctic climate, known as traditional knowledge, was largely disregarded by the Western world. It was often dismissed as anecdotal and unreliable by scientists who visited the area with their recording devices and their theories. Some even viewed the Inuit as ignorant about a land which they've inhabited for thousands of years. But, more recently, scientists have begun paying attention to what the Inuit are reporting. According to geophysicist George Hobson, traditional Inuit knowledge was just waiting to be passed down. He says this deep understanding of the land and its wildlife have enabled the Inuit people to survive in the harsh Arctic environment. For thousands of years, the Inuit have lived by rules that require them to respect animals and the land. They've adapted to the cold climate as they hunted seals, walruses, and whales. Siloa Atagujuk, an elderly Inuit woman who lives in the city of Iqaluit, doesn't want to pretend she knows more than anyone else. Nor does she try to blame anyone for the change in her environment. She's simply worried. Her world is not as it used to be, and her people may not have the capacity to adapt to it. She says that the Inuit have known all along that there'd be a time when the earth would be destroyed, or would destroy itself. She believes that this process has begun.